Later, she started trying to convince us that only one of us kids needed to take it since we will all have the same results, and to resell extra kits to save money. Where's you headed, Mom? Who is EP? My apologies, let me just descend. I had no idea who that was. Excuse me, I was born in 2000! I don't want to hear it! Cause I would look at that hat and I would go, I know exactly what's happening. So hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Laylah, and today we have more holiday content! At the very beginning of December, I posted a little holiday video, and I figured we could get more into the holiday spirit this month. Yeah, so I gathered up several posts from various subreddits centered around holiday stories. Now, I tried to be diverse, but there's some holidays that just really are not that searchable or findable. So I did my best. So everyone, just settle in, cozy on up, get ready to hear some crazy stories, get yourself a nice hot drink, and let's just jump right in with the first post. So this first one comes from the subreddit r/EntiltedPeople. So this comes from the user NotAShark1. Karen demands bacon in a Jewish neighborhood on Hanukkah. Me, 41 male, and my partner, 37 female, were in a Dunkin' Donuts in the Jewish neighborhood of our city. I'm an atheist and my partner's Jewish, and we were there to pick up donuts for a Hanukkah dinner with my in-laws when we hear a woman behind us complaining that they only had veggie bacon listed on the menu. My partner and I turn around to explain that they are in a Jewish neighborhood and that this is a kosher Dunkin' Donuts and that there won't be any meat other than tuna in the store because of dietary restrictions. Before we could explain anything, this woman who looked like a shorter Peggy Bundy— who is that? This woman who looked like a shorter Peggy Bundy starts being sarcastic, saying, "We're an ex-neighborhood?" I didn't know that. And being very rude. So we just turned around, my partner called her a... and we continued to wait for our turn to order donuts. Meanwhile, she just kept complaining about the veggie bacon while her son, who was in his late teens/early 20s, kept knocking travel mugs off the display. The man is a little old for that, not gonna lie. We finally order, and while we're waiting for our order, we hear Discount Peggy arguing with the cashier about how she wants real bacon, and why don't they have real bacon, and how she can read the sign that says all the sandwiches have veggie bacon. We finally get our order and leave thinking we've seen the last of Discount Peggy, only see her at the street corner as she was coming out yelling to the people across the street asking if the Starbucks, which is also kosher, had bacon. That's when our light turned green, and as we drove past her, my partner called her again, but I don't think it registered in her brain that we were referring to her because she was focused on finding bacon in a Jewish neighborhood. Through editing, I have heard this story like 12 times by now, and I still cannot figure out if anyone ever informed her if the neighborhood was in fact a Jewish neighborhood which was kosher. So when originally reading this post, I was like, oh, they told her. They didn't. I was dumb. And then, upon rereading the post multiple times, I was like, well, did anyone ever end up telling this woman? I feel like the majority of people who have not been raised around that or know anything about kosher stuff, such as myself, would maybe not realize the correlation. Not that we are defending this woman's actions in the slightest, okay? But I cannot tell if someone ever informed her. If I was in a neighborhood and every place I went to had veggie bacon, I would begin to question the neighborhood. But, like, did no one ever tell this woman? But if someone did tell her and she just kept going from, like, location to location, being like, hey, why are you selling veggie bacon? Like, I get that would make her completely obnoxious. And again, I'm not defending her. Her son was knocking stuff off the shelf. But it's very confusing because I don't know if she was ever informed. I cannot draw from this post if this woman was ever informed that this is a Jewish kosher neighborhood. What confused me about this post is that Peggy Bundy said, we're an ex-neighborhood, I didn't know that, which makes it sound like it was explained to her that this is a Jewish neighborhood. So either way, she sounds like an extremely annoying person. That's not the point, I just don't know if she was ever informed, because I feel like your average person would not know and be able to logically deduce this neighborhood doesn't have bacon because they're Jewish. Should you research stuff beforehand? Absolutely. Again, we're not defending this woman, I'm just stating facts. Anyways, who is Peggy Bundy? I had no idea who that was. Excuse me, I was born in 2000. I don't want to hear it. So this next one comes from Mama's Stang. Or Mama's Tang? You want what for Christmas? Just a post about the etiquette of gift giving and had to share a story about my sister, EP. I don't know what EP stands for. I have several siblings, and every year we draw names during Thanksgiving, typically $100 or so gift. Normal so far, right? My brother drew entitled sister's name. Who is EP? My apologies, let me just be done. A short time later, my sister calls my brother, he has a healthy bank account, and asks that he spend the $100 on her colleague that's strapped for cash. She's so caring, right? No. He's happy to and told her how kind that was. She clarified that my brother should just add that to her gift. She also requested a Botox appointment for herself. Oddly enough, that was our last year we did gift exchanges. What? People are saying that Botox appointments are more than $100 too, so she was being greedy. I'm confused. Maybe I'm just dumb. So, okay. So they do a draw during Thanksgiving. Typically $100 or so gift. Okay, got it. And then her brother withdraws the sister's name and asks that he spend the $100 on her colleague that's strapped for cash. But then she also wants to add to her gift a Botox appointment. Once again, I got really tripped up by the technicalities of this post. The colleague was what threw me off because it seemed like, oh, she's giving him a gift, when in fact she just for some reason wanted her brother to spend $100 on this guy and at least another $100 on her. Very confusing story, but totally icky to expect, more than $100. And, like, why did she involve her colleague? That's the part that doesn't make sense. And I get that, like, she was trying to do something nice for her colleague, but then she completely ruined the moment by being like, can you get me a Botox appointment? So, ew. This one comes from the user 𝘞𝘦𝘭𝘯𝘬𝘬𝘐. Anaphylaxis? You remember how you ruined Christmas Eve, right? So this happened when I was 12, but I was told recently to post here because it came up again. The two main characters other than me, our snobby aunt isn't related to me, we'll call her Janice. Shanice. And her husband is my mom's brother, but he's not relevant to the story. My mom is kind of the entitled person throughout the story, though, so bear with me. That's what EP means. I'm smart! Christmas Eve, we usually spend having a dinner at Janice's house. There's a bathroom connected to the dining room on the first floor, and this year the dinner was actually in the dining room and not on the attached covered porch like it normally was. Janice doesn't believe in kid food, and her children didn't even have TV dinners until they went to college. I only think I had one. So this event always had homemade everything and was one of the worst events for me growing up because I have food aversions, a lot of them. Everyone called it picky eating, and they still do, but a lot of people outside my family have suspected I have some form of diagnosis waiting for me that my family just never wanted to check for. I'm checking for it now, though, in observation. I wonder if it's something like ARFID. Is that how you say that? This particular year, I was 12 years old, and since I had again not eaten more than some bread, everyone was trying to get me to eat something, even though we were a 5-ish minute walk from home. So finally, someone brings over a plate of chocolate chip cookies and tells me to just eat some. I kid you not, it's been over a decade and I still remember these cookies. I probably ate close to 10 of them. They're definitely the best cookies I've ever had in my life. But after eating them, my mouth feels kind of tingly and I start to feel sick, like really sick. I can't remember if someone was in the bathroom by the dining room or if I knew I was gonna throw up, but I remember excusing myself to go to the upstairs bathroom that was more over the kitchen and further away from where the food was. My lips felt swollen, my tongue felt swollen, and I couldn't stop puking or crying. My mom came up after a while to scold me again for being so picky about what I ate, yelling, "They were just walnuts," as if I was honestly making myself puke that bad, and lying to her about feeling like my lip and tongue were swollen because of walnuts. She gets mad, we leave because I ruined the party, then after walking home I'm still gagging and crying. So she angrily gets me in the car and yells at me until the first stoplight. I'm not puking, I was too scared to keep crying, so she turned around and we went home. 7 years later, I get allergy tested for something completely unrelated, and I ask for a copy of my results after the doctor hands me an EpiPen before I was even allowed to leave the office. A positive allergy was a 9mm rash, like a bug bite. My skin reaction to cashews was almost 30 centimeters. I'm officially deathly allergic allergic to tree nuts. But to this day, I wonder how entitled my aunt and mom had to be to remind me every year how I ruined that one dinner, crying about swollen mouth and my tongue and throat burning, and to genuinely believe that I was just being such a brat that I was forcing myself to puke over cookies. Cookies I still believe to be the best I've ever eaten. What kind of parent do you have to be to completely disregard something like that happening? Like, honestly, horrible parenting. I'm also wondering what happened to them that night of the allergy. Did they go to the doctor? Did they just suffer through? Like, they're deathly allergic to pine nuts or whatever, right? Is that what they said? I don't remember. I'm tired. Yeah, so they're officially deathly allergic to tree nuts. So what happened to them that night? Did their parents ever take this child to the ER? And as for this story, I also cannot conclude if this child was ever taken to the emergency room. I don't know anything about allergies or anaphylactic shock. I've never been through anything like that. I've never witnessed that. So, can you be deathly allergic to something and somehow overcome the allergy without the interference of something medical, EpiPen, otherwise? I don't know how that works because they did pretty much immediately go and throw up the cookie, and they said they had at least 10 of them that night, so I can't draw. I don't think this person was ever taken to the emergency room, which sounds like such neglect. Like, I don't know how you're gonna look at a kid reacting like that and go, well, there must be being a brat, because, rain, that's crazy. Ew, terrible parenting. Die, immediately. Okay, this next one comes from Puzzled Sorefish 435. Christmas story of an entitled sister. In advance of the approaching holidays, I thought that I would get you into the Christmas spirit by sharing a story from my young adulthood quite a while ago. I have always been an absolute Christmas devotee, mainly because of a relatively bleak life of disability due to illnesses acquired in childhood which left me immunocompromised. I can never say that word. It's hard. As such, I still lived with my mother, but she was an incredible friend and advocate, so that was not an issue. So my true joy each holiday season was putting my creativity into overdrive to decorate a new Christmas tree theme each year, with all the ornaments made from scratch, and decorating the house, purchasing and wrapping presents immaculately, as well as cooking a few choice goodies, as I didn't have the energy for a feast. Well, even though this was the joy that lifted me out of limited existence, there was a price to pay. Almost like clockwork, I would catch a terrible cold or flu roughly 2 days before Christmas that lasted over the rest of the holiday season, due to the activity lowering my immune system threshold for fighting disease considerably. I don't necessarily have regrets, but this is the background of the story. One Christmas, my sister, entitled sister, and her fiancé, entitled fiancé, were spending the holidays with us, and as usual, I was violently ill. With a fever of 103 Fahrenheit, I had to stay laying down, as if I ever even sat upright, the vomiting would start, so getting up to go elsewhere would be disastrous. I had also lost my voice with laryngitis due to the corrosive effects of the stomach acid from previous sessions. My mother had set up a futon on the floor of the living area with towels and a bowl, so that I wouldn't be cut off from the guests and festivities. So in walks entitled sister and entitled fiancé, telling me that they wanted to go over to the piano to sing Christmas carols, but they didn't think 2 people were enough, and they wanted, i.e., expected, me to join them. I tried to explain in a hoarse whisper that not only was it impossible for me to sing, but I would likely vomit all over the piano and anything I passed by on the way there. So then, she lost it. She began to tirade about how I was ruining their Christmas by not doing what they wanted me to do, and as always, entitled fiancé backs her up on this. I was too stunned by the ridiculous absurdity of this to answer. I was literally and figuratively speechless. Laryngitis didn't help. This was not the only arena for her holiday hissy fits. As entitled sister's birthday was 2 days before Christmas, you didn't dare have any indication in decorations or presents of Christmas's approach, or she would sulk and glare all day in silent retribution. What makes this story really crazy is that we literally have the same birthday. I was born 2 days before Christmas. Wish me a happy birthday. Happy birthday. And like, that's not even something I've even considered caring about. Like, certain siblings just ruin everything. And I also don't know what they expected. A lot of people also don't believe that you're as ill as you say you are, which usually means getting into arguments with people about how unwell you actually feel. Just sounds like a really annoying sibling to be around, and That's a huge yikes. We're moving on to our next subreddit. Today I messed up. I don't curse. So this next one comes from Guardian Fire. Today I messed up by purchasing Christmas beanies for my grandchildren for Christmas. This story isn't mine, but my mom's. It's tradition for my parents to get together with their grandchildren the first weekend of December for tree decorating. Pretty standard stuff. All the grandkids come over, and there's usually a large group, but as the kids have gotten older and moved away to college, the numbers have dwindled down, but that doesn't stop my mom from hosting it every year. This year was no different. Typical holiday cheer, including Christmas ornaments, fresh-baked cookies, and brand new festive hats for the kids. My mom purchased them off Amazon and thought they were adorable with their light-up deer beanie hats. What she failed to realize is the deer decorating the sides of the hat were enjoying each other a bit more than they should have been. The front of the beanies look normal and festive, but the deer outlining the trim are festively... Now, my cousins, nieces, and nephews are ages between 10 and 22. They received their humping deer beanies at the beginning of December and have been wearing them all over town the entire holiday season. It wasn't until a mutual friend received the same beanie for Christmas and made a comment about being the best hat ever did my mom realize the mess up. She's been sending out mass texts all night to the parents whose children received the NSFW beanies, and trying to play damage control so the younger kids don't realize what they've been wearing humping deers on their heads all season. Surmise to say my mom was caught being horrified and hysterically laughing. I personally think they are adorable. And here's an attached photo. I don't know how you would look at that and not realize what we're looking at. Also, why didn't any of the older kids say anything? Because I would look at that hat and I would go, I know exactly what's happening. That's actually really funny. Low-key, I would wear that. This next one comes from the user Snorkels721. Today I messed up by buying everyone an AncestryDNA kit and ruining Christmas. Earlier this year, AncestryDNA had a sale on their kit. I thought it would be a great gift idea, so I bought 6 of them for Christmas presents. Today my family got together to exchange presents for a Christmas Eve tradition, and gave my mom, dad, brother, and 2 sisters each a kit. As soon as everyone opened their gift at the same time, my mom started freaking out. She told us how she didn't want us taking them because they had unsafe chemicals. We explained to her how there was actually no chemicals, but we could tell she was still flustered. Later, she started trying to convince us that only one of us kids needed to take it since we will all have the same results, and to resell extra kits to save money. Where's you headed, Mom? Fast forward, our parents have been fighting upstairs for the past hour, and we are downstairs trying to figure out who has a different dad. So here's an update to the story. Thank you so much for all the love and support. My sisters, brother, and I have not yet decided yet if we are going to take the test. No matter what the results are, we will still love each other and our parents no matter what. Here's update number 2. Christmas isn't ruined! My F-up actually turned into a Christmas miracle. Turns out my sister's father passed away shortly after she was born. A good friend of my mom's was able to help her through the darkest time in her life, and they went on to fall in love and create the rest of our family. They never told us because of how hard it was for my mom. Last night, she was strong enough to share stories and photos with us for the first time, and it truly brought us even closer together as a family. This is a Christmas we will never forget. And yes, we're all excited to get our test results. Merry Christmas, everyone! P.S. Sorry my mom isn't a whore. No, you're not my daddy.
What?
They kinda killed the Christmas cheer. So why were the parents fighting? So the parents are fighting about this, okay. So the mom's trying to convince them, let's not do this. And then they've been fighting upstairs for the past hour. And then it turns out this person's sister's father passed away shortly after she was born. And then a good friend of the mom was able to help her through the darkest time in her life, and they all went to fall in love and create the rest of the family. So why did she never tell anyone that? Like, I understand the death of a father to your child is pretty traumatic. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not judging them. I'm just very confused by that. Because why wouldn't... wouldn't you tell people that? Wouldn't you tell the daughter that? I'm just confused why they were fighting. Wouldn't the dad have known that? That's where we're gonna cut it off for the night. I've just been having, like, a really hard time... Hello? I've just been having like a really hard time talking this weekend. I don't know what's going on. And I filmed yesterday, Friday night, and I could not speak. I was like having so many issues that I decided to just refilm a video and find new posts for it. And I couldn't speak today either. I'm having all kinds of issues. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, if this video is short, my apologies. Those were some pretty crazy stories. So many privileged people this time of year. I don't know what it is about the holidays, but it just brings out the worst in people. And some people are just really annoying this time of year. And also, if you don't want to end your night here and you're like, I want to watch more, I will link down to my entire Reddit playlist, and I will also link down to all the subreddits and posts used if you want to go and check those out for yourself or explore these subreddits. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you all here next time.